to me because it shows that Project Mercy's is meeting their goals, because these people kind of can understand some of these health conditions that go on and why they happen, and they're getting treatment here. And I guess as a nurse practitioner, just understanding that you have to care for the basic needs of people is really important, and just understanding your population is so important. And to me, I think as a healthcare professional, that's the biggest part of what I'll take away from this trip. Jay's gonna come on up and discuss sustainability.
Hello, I'm Jay. Just graduated from Regis. First, I'd like to share a story with you. So, when you tell your parents you're going to Ethiopia, they have a lot of different perspectives. First, they say, why would you go there? Second, they say, are you going to be safe? And they get a little bit concerned. So after telling my parents I was going on this trip, the first thing they told me is, okay, just promise us that you won't go running off into the mountains by yourself like we always hope that you don't, because that scares us. Of course, when I got there, I decided that it'd be a great idea to go running off into the mountains by myself. And at first I was a little worried, so I'd only go short distances, wasn't sure if I'd be safe, wasn't sure if I'd be receptive by the rural communities. But slowly I went further and further out into community. And just to give you an example of how safe you feel there, the biggest threat I got was on a mountaintop, probably 4 or 5 miles away from where we were staying. I was running down the road, and I come up on a group of children, 3 children. They turn to me, and I wasn't sure what they're going to do. And the little kid bends down, picks up a stick. He says, "You, give me your money." And that was the most threat that I felt in the entire trip. And of course, I said, "I don't have any money," and I just kept going. So I want to talk a little bit about sustainability. When you think about programs in terms of Westerners or other people from different countries going to help out in what we like to term a developing country, the best programs are those that promote sustainability and promote empowerment, meaning they don't depend on us coming back, they don't depend on us being there the whole time. What they depend for us to do is to teach them, to empower them, and that's really our goal. One of the ways we do that is through Regis faculty and Regis students making a relationship with the Ethiopian PTs. So as we mentioned, Roba is a physio there, and we've been able to sort of do a little test program with him where he can take classes online and learn. And while we were in the clinics treating patients, Cheryl and Tim did a lot of work behind the scenes, sort of making relationships with these communities and with these physios, so that in the future, when we come back, we can organize even better, teach them more skills, and maybe they can even sort of promote their own education in Addis Ababa in terms of perhaps getting a master's degree in physical therapy or even a doctorate, which is a dream for them. And so it was really nice to get a relationship. This was at the school in Gondar, and that's their label for the room. And we were able to see, these are Ethiopian students, which actually get educated right out of high school to become physical therapists. So another way that we promoted sustainability is through education in Yerevan. A lot of children here, through the dreams of Demi and Marta, are able to find themselves in school. And this is really important. It was so apparent to me the differences in one child being educated and one child falling behind, and that one day we were able to read to children. And so we took an afternoon, we just sat on the grass, and we had books, and we read to them a little bit, and they read to us a little bit. I sat down, and there was a girl on each side of me. Both girls were the same age. One girl could read at a level exactly to her age, maybe 6th or 7th grade. The other girl could only read words like and the. This was simply due to the fact that she couldn't find herself in school until much later, and so she was struggling. And then she falls further and further behind. But this is what they're trying to get rid of, especially in places like Yerevan. Because if you educate these children early, they have much higher chance of succeeding. And what's interesting is in Ethiopia, the native language, the biggest native language is Amharic. But the language of the professional community is English. So all these children in school, they learn Amharic, but they also learn English so that they can succeed in the professional world as they get older. Which was really convenient for us because we were in the clinics trying to talk to patients in Amharic, but the physios next to us were able to speak English too. So instead of just doing all these movements, we were able to actually communicate. Another way that we helped out with sustainability is in Yerevan we were able to teach body mechanics. So a lot of this is the first time, a lot of us on this trip, it's the first time we were able to use professional skills that we're going to use for the rest of our lives and use those skills to help other people help others in their country. So we were teaching these women how to better transfer patients to prevent low back pain and getting injuries. This is something they'll use forever. And they still remember things that were taught last year, and hopefully they'll be refurbished by things they learned the next year when the next group comes. So I want to talk a little bit about the future. So you look at all these children, all Ethiopian children, and you just wonder, where will they be in 5 years? Where will they be in 10 years? How many obstacles do they have to overcome before they can achieve their dreams of becoming educated, becoming a physiotherapist, a nurse practitioner, or the equivalent in Ethiopia, or just surviving? And we really want to think about ways that we can help improve that, either domestically or by doing programs like this. Number one for us is speaking to you here. So we went over and had this amazing experience. We were very privileged to do so. But now it's our duty to sort of keep it rolling, keep these relationships strong. The reason our opportunity was, and our experience was so great is because of the work of the faculty in previous years, so that when we get there, we can help as much as we can in the short amount of time that we're there. But then also participating in programs like the folks here with Noel and Susan, very inspiring. I mean, there's no way we could have gone on this trip without them. And these are just examples of how you can act as one individual and make a huge change. A couple other ideas are things like microfinancing websites. Tim, one of our faculty who's not here, mentioned this, is that you can go onto websites and you can microfinance very small business opportunities, like a woman trying to make a living by weaving baskets. You give her a small loan, and then she uses that loan to start a business. $30 to us is not a lot, but it's a ton to them. And then they start that business, they make a profit, they sustain their family, and then they pay you back. That's quite amazing. So hopefully you got a little glimpse of our experience there. It was unbelievable for us. It's really hard to describe in a short presentation, but we hope you got a glimpse of what we experienced and what we hope to carry on as professionals in the healthcare field. And at this point, we'd like to open it up to any questions that you have.
I'll start.
Yep.
I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you that the library owns the Walk to Beautiful video.
Okay.
We have Dr. Hohen's book, and then we also have Dr. I just blanked on her name. Hamlin. Yeah, Catherine Hamlin's book. So
Cool.
and probably a pretty decent collection on Ethiopia that we've been collecting for the past few years. And then I wanted to comment on what you talked about empowering. When I was in Ethiopia last August building the Tom Hoyman Library, because I helped set up the Tom Hoyman Library, we did a lot of training of library assistants. And when they first came in, they pretty much were told that it was a punishment to be a librarian. You were being punished. It was, you needed to be reprimanded. It was a low-level job. It was basically a step above, well, it was even a demotion from being an office assistant. And so after a 3-day training period, they felt like that this was a valuable skill. So I just wanted to comment on the importance of what you're doing as far as empowerment. So that they're not feeling like beggars themselves, that they're always waiting for a handout from the U.S., that they can do it themselves. And I think that the cross-communication is very, very important, what you're doing with the faculty or the PT, practicing PTs over there.
Yeah.
Was there a language barrier, and if so, how did you manage with that?
So in Ethiopia, I think there's 30 languages, but the national language is Amharic. And so most people spoke Amharic, some spoke Tigrinya. But like I said, when we were in the physical therapy clinic, the physios would help us because they spoke pretty good English. But when we were with patients and we'd find ourselves alone with patients, it was sign language, and that's a skill we haven't had to use before, but you show them to do something and they do something, and we learn words like and different words for pain and movement. And honestly, that was a source of comedy the entire time, because we'd say something and it was totally off, and they would laugh at us, and then we'd try and say it again, and we'd try and count, and then they would laugh, and it was just smiles, the whole time. But yeah, it was pretty difficult at points, for sure.
Sure.
So, about reflection. Now, the 3 of you have graduated. Kelly's on her way to being graduated. But if you were to reflect, we know you're not